Hi everyone, Aaron Stone, one of the elementary art teachers here in this week's lesson on graffiti and street art. This particular lesson holds a dear place in my heart because I am a huge and a big supporter of graffiti and street art. It sort of shows with my age. I've watched it evolve since the 90s to become something that has now represents one of the most successful forms of creativity that we have going today in our culture. Graffiti and street art actually began at the beginning of time, it was a cave painting that sort of represented a form of a wall being used to express a feeling, a thought, or an idea. Here are two of the more famous graffiti street artists who became popular in their outright form of creativity in a guy by the name of Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat. These two artists in the 80s not only represented street art and graffiti culture, but became some of the more successful modern artists in the last 50 years. Here are some different examples of graffiti that I have. Some of them are personal pictures, and some of them are just famous images of the form of graffiti. Here are some really interesting images of street art and how it could be used as a form of expression in various different ways. Now, before I explain Banksy to everybody, I wanted to explain to everybody the difference between graffiti and street art. Graffiti is a form of art where you are using words and images to represent and create about yourself. So you are putting yourself out there, so it's almost like a modern day, uniquely versioned self-portrait. Street art, on the other hand, is creating an image that you would like to create that evokes a response, or make somebody feel something, or make somebody want to do something, or make somebody appreciate something, or it could just be a beautiful piece of art that is on a wall or on the side of something that you see that makes you smile. Banksy, on the other hand, actually was an artist who challenged and created work that makes you not only feel and think, but is just changed the game in so many forms between what this artist has done for awareness of issues and as well for his own form of creativity that has allowed him to become the most successful living artist today. Now, here are some of his examples of some of the work that helped him get to that status that we're talking about now. This is part of a bunch of images he did when he spent a month in New York several years ago. There's documentaries about it, and it's called Banksy Does New York. Here are some more of Banksy's work. Some of these are images from that particular period of time. So he took, for example, the word parking from a garage that was out on the street, took out the one half, and created it because there's not enough public parks in New York, and he wanted to bring awareness to it. Here's one of my more famous and yet amusing ones, because actually now he is that rich. Here's a place called 5 Points that no longer is in existence, which was in Long Island City across the street from PS1. 5 Points was a very magical place because anybody and everybody who had created graffiti and street art from all over the world would come to this place to put their mark and feel like they were in like what we would call the Hall of Fame of public artwork. When this was in existence, it was one of what we call 5 different Hall of Fames that were around the 5 boroughs of New York. So each borough in New York, between Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, has a place where artists will come to leave their mark. This was the place amongst those places. So it was like the Hall of Fame of Hall of Fames. And so it had some really incredible work. It's hard to tell from the size of the image, but you're getting an idea of the impact and the work quality that was done in this particular location. Here are some different lettering styles that you could see to explore lettering. So I'm going to stop right here with this to explain it to you with why I'm showing you the letters. One of your choices for the assignment is, if you're doing graffiti, that you are creating your name in a graffiti style with possibly images or just the words or the style of lettering to represent you. If you really need to look at it, put it on pause when you watch the video. But you could just see how you could play with your letters, not just what you're writing, but how you're writing it. These are some student examples from 5th graders at some point that have worked with me on their graffiti and how they've created their style. And these are some examples of student work in what they've created to represent their idea. I wanted to just show you a variety of ways to do this, because the beautiful thing about street art and graffiti is there is no one way. It's your way. As long as it's up and put in a public place, you have now created street art or graffiti yourself. And here's just a little bit of an example of how art is viewed, and a famous Banksy quote. He was known as the rat, or she was known as the rat. And so that's how you know it was a Banksy piece, is because there's always a rat somewhere in a lot of his work. This is an artist by the name of Shepard Fairey, who Shepard Fairey was famous for creating the Obama Hope poster, which not only made the artist become a worldwide success, but some people think it really contributed to Obama being able to become president, because it made his election a more relatable for the younger voter. And street art is your friend. So one of the things I just wanted to quickly show you is I took the word art and wrote it in 2 different ways. One of the things when you're doing graffiti is you want to think about almost like writing it cursive. You want to connect your letters so that it becomes its own design, its own image within a word. And when you're doing it, you could even play with doubling up some of the letters to create it as more of a unique form of your design. I'm going to go upside down on this, so bear with me. So if I have that as my word and it was art, one of the things that you could also do is start to play with perspective. Perspective is when you are making an image look 3-dimensional even though it's flat on a surface. There's a thing called a vanishing point. That dot, let's just say I put that dot there, you would want all your lines to somehow go and connect to that vanishing point. When you have that, if you see what I do, it will make the image become 3-dimensional. So you're starting to be able to express it in a 3-dimensional form. So, back to the screen for a sec. If you have any questions, Feel free to reach out to any of the art teachers. I would love for everybody to have fun with this, explore themselves or something that's important to them. If you have any questions about how to do this or just want to share, we'd love to hear from you. Have fun, enjoy the rest of your day, and take care. Peace.